We're all set. Finally, awesome. Well, happy Thursday, April the 6th, I think, right? 5th, 6th. Um, are you on the air?
It is the 6th, yes. I had to look to see what day it was.
Well, my days are running in each other. It's just crazy. And I just barely made it on time today. I actually had a radio show last night, but due to unfortunate circumstances on the road, it's always sad to hear those things happen. I mean, traffic was just terrible, so I didn't make it. So I'm glad that I'm here today just to be talking and seeing you again.
Hey.
Hey. So I do have to make sure that my setup is the correct one right now. Some of the things that I have to do to make sure it all works. All right, cool. So last time we had fun. We were talking about my book.
Yes.
And we kind of left it off at don't complain all day. I think that's where we ended up somewhere. Dream more, complain less. And we talked about daily affirmations. You know, an affirmation is a declaration of a truth, whilst inspirations can move us emotionally to be creative or to a higher level of consciousness. And then focusing on one thing each day. Really, here's the thing. No, not focus on just one thing, but just each day. Just focus on one thing at a time and just get it done. I mean, what's the point of starting something and you just don't finish it? You know, if you get distracted by all sorts of things, focusing and completing your tasks, and completing tasks is another chapter in my book, really gives you a lot of fulfillment. The sense of achievements, the sense of completion. And you don't have all this noise hanging in the air of stuff that's not been done. You ever find that when you have a lot of ideas and things that you want to do and you start one, you get distracted, you start another one, and then before you know it, you got all these things that you want to get done. Mm-hmm. And then ultimately you don't get them done. And it gets kind of a little stressful because you have all these emotional attachments to the outcomes. And now all these emotions are kind of hanging in the wind, in the breeze. And that, I mean, I believe is a contributor to people's stress. Mm-hmm. Because they realize that there's a kind of incompleteness or emptiness in whatever it is that they're doing. What do you think?
Well, that's why you should only date one person at a time.
Oh, that's different. No, that's totally different.
Like, oh, there, no, it doesn't work. No. It's a really good analogy. But no, it's really true because, you know, when you only have your one whole self, and when you're partitioning yourself to do all these other things, you can't put your complete self in all these different situations at the same time. So if you want to write a book, that's awesome, but you can't write music at the same time, but maybe you can, but you want to do this, you want to do that, you need to put your concentration and just get one thing done at a time. Start them all at the same time, yes. But once they're started, then you go and you finish them one at a time. That way you get everything you want done and you get to concentrate on each thing one by one.
And typically the whole experience is better. It's more fulfilling. And the end result typically is also a lot better when you do that. So I don't abide to that one in particular, but what I do, okay? Because you know what? I write my book and then I have my blogs and I have all these other things that happen all simultaneously. So I'm kind of that multi-dimensional guy. But the point of the matter is that you really got to stay focused. You got to give yourself that opportunity to stay focused on one thing for a very specific period of time, especially if you're going to do more things as well. But unless you're clear what those outcomes are, unless you complete the specific tasks, then you're going to get a lot of frustration. So the power of focusing on one thing. So did we talk about questions last time? Quality of questions is the quality of life. You ask yourself better questions, then you get better answers.
Oh.
You like that one?
I like that one. Let's reiterate.
All right. So here's the thing. What's a lousy question that you sometimes ask yourself?
What's a lousy question?
That you sometimes ask yourself.
Did I remember to eat today? That happens a lot. I think that's a pretty lousy. Or I don't really know. Can you give me an example and I will reiterate my version, or something that I need an example.
All right. So a question that a lot of people will ask themselves, which is a lousy question. Why is it that I can't lose weight? Or why is it that I can never succeed? Or why is it that I can't have the relationships that I want? Or why? So all of it's kind of turned into negative, because the brain is going to give you answers to the questions that you ask. So if the question is, what is something that I can do or learn to be able to more effectively lose my weight right now, what would it be? And you're going to come up with a different answer. And way too often, I think people are staying in that negative. Why am I so unhappy? Or why am I constantly depressed? Or why am I always frustrated? Or why am I always angry?
I never asked myself any of those questions.
You don't?
No.
Well, what's wrong with you?
See, I know the answers, so why ask yourself? Why why am I not losing weight? Well, maybe I ate a little bit too much. I should have skipped dessert, or maybe I didn't work out as hard as I should have when I was boxing, or maybe I missed doing cardio for 2 days in a row. You know the answers. It's subliminal. It's in your head. But why people ask questions like that when they already know the answer, I just don't get it.
Well, I challenge you, by the way, to check in with yourself for the next week. And then next week you can share with me. Actually, I think next week we might have Ted, on the show next week. Is it next week? What's today? Yeah, he's on the show. So we'll do. I'm going to double team with him and challenge you. But between now and then, just check in yourself and ask yourself, are there any questions that aren't really empowering? Maybe one question has to do with your sister.
Oh.
Okay.
Why is she so full of herself?
There you go. So here's a couple of questions. First of all, what is it that I'm focusing on? What does it mean? Whatever we focus on, that's where our energy goes. That's a term that I learned from Tony Robbins. Why are you laughing?
I'm just sorry. I was just laughing about my sister in my head and how you totally pressed that button. You knew where to go. I love it.
So, hold on a second. Chapter. Yeah, you're not reading my book, are you? Shoot. It's here somewhere. It's being present. You're not being present in the moment. You're back there. So you're not working on my habits. You've got to be present.
Okay. I like presence.
All right. Me too. So the meaning we give anything is the experience it becomes. With the meaning, we often attach an emotion. So it's important the brain asks 3 questions, basically. What do I focus on? What does it mean? What am I going to do about it? And, we can understand all of our behavior in that context. If you focus on one thing and I focus on something entirely different, and we're in the same environment, we're going to have a completely different experience. Right? So if you and I were going to a party and I went in and with you and you were focusing on, the music, right? Since you're a singer and all that stuff. And so you'd be focused on the music. And say, for example, it was music that you don't like. Okay?
Okay. So they played rap music?
Yeah, they play rap music. All right. And so I go and I'm focusing on all the cool people that are there that are my friends. And so you and I are going to have a completely different experience, even though we went to the same thing. Right? Obviously, it's also based on our values and beliefs and desires and all those things. But when we start focusing on different things, we get different meanings. So here's another one. Is what is my mood right now?
What is your mood?
Well, no, but it's what you ask yourself, not me.
Okay. I'm always in a good mood.
Always?
And even if I'm not, I fake it enough where I fake myself out to believe that I'm happy.
But why are you faking it? Why would you fake it?
Because when you are when you have a camera on you at all times, you always.
Oh, that's different. You're just doing a job.
I'm doing my job. When I'm doing my job, I'm always happy.
So you're faking it now?
No, I'm actually in a really good mood right now. We're good. I went boxing yesterday, so.
You're all loose.
Huh?
So you're all loose. So here's another one. What is it that I want? What is it that I want? Well, actually, even better. What is it that I really want, really? You tell me what you make of that question. What is it that I really want, really? Versus just what is it that I really want? What do you think?
You reiterated really, which means you're telling yourself to really analyze and reanalyze what you truly, truly want. So I like the emphasis on the second really.
So how many times?
Stop BSing yourself and answer truthfully.
Right. So how many times have you been invited out to an event and you felt obligated to go, and so you said, I really want to go, but really you didn't? See the difference?
That happens a lot. Right. A lot, because there's only so many red carpet events you could do, and you're like, oh, great.
But it's sort of like you have to. So, but if you really wanted to not go, then you wouldn't go, right?
No, I'd still go out of obligation.
Right. So that's not what you really, really want to do.
That's not what I really, really want to do. What I'd really, really want to do is to like be in the jacuzzi relaxing.
Right. So the question then is this.
Are you being present?
No, I was going to try to say something funny, but it usually doesn't come out very funny, so I always not say it. So the thing is, right, that if you're doing things by obligation, how nice would it be if you were more flexible, had more choices, so that you could actually really do what you really wanted to do?
That would be
and that's an important part of life, is to find that what I call the operational flexibility, so that you can just ultimately simply do what you really want to do and be happy with it. I have a lifestyle now that I really enjoy, and I'm always doing what I really want to do. Even the stuff that perhaps is not so much fun, I really want to do them. Not because I'm obligated to do it, but it's because I really want to do them. Because I understand the outcome. I'm focused on that. I'm focused on the meaning of it. And then I get to do it. And when I don't want to do it, then, I don't. And some people don't like me for that.
Oh. You see, I'm in a different situation. I'm still building my brand. The brand of Windy West as a personality. So I still have to go to the things because things that I don't necessarily want to go to, like to different parties, events, or red carpet events. The reason being is I'm putting my career or my brand above what I really want to do. So I want to do it.
Are you really?
Really, really want to, not wear high heels, but but yeah, I am. I mean, I'm putting my brand first because I'm building it.
So what if you could just wear those high heels and really enjoy wearing them?
Then they better be Michael Kors, because those are super comfy.
Okay.
Yep.
What color?
Usually just black, simple black strappy Michael Kors shoes, because those don't hurt my feet. So yeah.
Well, there you go. So you still could do that and enjoy it.
I can still do it, just as long as I have the right shoes, but it's hard to find the right shoes. They had to be comfortable and be cute.
I have to make this admission, and some of my past relationships will confirm this. I'm very good at buying women's shoes.
Really?
Yeah. Nice. It's a talent that I get to enjoy and make a lot of women happy.
Very cool. Very
so
cool.
So one day we'll talk. We won't talk details now, because that'll be too personal. All right. What stops me from getting what I want? That's the question.
What stops me from getting what I want?
Here's another one. What would happen if I didn't do this? What will it cost me now or in the future? What would I do if I could never fail?
You should do everything anyways, regardless if you're going to fail or not. Because if you're scared to fail...
Wait. You're spinning it now. That's no fair. That's no fair. That's no fair.
Wait. No,
that's no fair. That's not the question.
Hard. Okay.
What?
You need to be scared. If you're scared you're going to fail, that means you're alive and you're learning and you're growing as a person.
Yeah,
So,
you can still be scared, but just know that you're never going to fail. You see, what happens is that a lot of people don't move forward with something because they think they're just going to fail. They're too scared. Some people are actually scared of success. So what if you couldn't fail? That gives people the confidence to say, you know what, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, and I'll give you an example. I had a great training today. I gave a training to some amazing people, highly successful, high net worth, and it was one of my first ones in that kind of environment. And so I'm looking at these people and the accomplishments. It's like, wow, how can I compare to them? And I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to compare myself to them, I'm always going to fail because I'm never going to be them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happens in society way too often, is that too often we're comparing ourselves with other people, and that's the measure of success. So being, a very ambitious kind of person, being a super achiever, there's no such thing as overachiever, in my opinion, a super achiever. I like to achieve things. I like to make things happen. I like to make a difference. And so I just flipped it and said, okay, how is it that I can't fail? And so when I talk in those terms, then the answer, my story was then, wow, I can't fail because all I want to do is I want to help them. I want to give them gifts of insights and perspectives that possibly can really change their lives or lives of other people. Knowing that they're so successful in an area of life that I know that they're successful in, which is business, right? I have no clue about the rest of their life. But the human experience typically, especially when you're so successful, is that you focus so much on one area of life that you just totally ignore the other. So I went on that premise that part of their lives would be incomplete. The cool thing was that my focus was then on not so much comparing me with them, right? And measuring myself against them, but more of I can't fail, right? Because all I'm going to do is give them my best wisdom and appreciation and perspectives and the learnings that I have, and then it's up to them to use them or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And so that was exciting for me that I could reframe, which is another habit, by the way, looking at something from a different perspective so that it gives you greater meaning. Too often we are wired, neurologically, we're wired to look out for dangers. That's why when we walk on the street and we see the newspaper, big thunderstorm on its way, then you know what? You're going to look at the headline and read on. But you're not going to look at, the school choir, is raising $1,000 for a lost cat, something like that, right?
That must be one special cat.
Yeah, so you're not going to listen to that kind of stuff. You're not going to read that kind of stuff. So we're very much in that negative. We talked about last time, I think, when people complain, it's like a social currency. People are more familiar with complaining than giving compliments. Mm-hmm. If you get a compliment from somebody, well, you probably get a lot of them, so you wouldn't know. But perhaps there was a time when you were getting compliments that you were thinking, well, what do they want? Well, you don't have kids. So with my kids, for example, they give me a compliment. So, okay, what's up? What do you want? Or something nice to me. He says, okay, what's up? What do you want?
Really?
Yeah, but they figured it out now. They just, they forget about the preamble now. They just go straight at their dad. It's, okay, Dad, I need your credit card. I'm buying this. I don't even ask anymore.
You just hand over your credit cards?
Yeah, I trust them.
Wow.
And actually, they're very, very mindful. They're extremely mindful. I don't know where they got that from, but they're very mindful on that one. So it's pretty cool.
I think it's amazing you have kids that are old enough to know how to use a credit card. You must have started having kids young.
Well, I freaked out the other day because So I was in a different relationship, and she had children.
Mm-hmm.
And her oldest boy, for some reason, remembers numbers very well.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I gave him my credit card number to get something, which is fine. And then about 4 months later, I suddenly see this charge. I says, "What the hell? Where did this come from?" And then I realized, that I found out that he remembered numbers so well that he just put it in. You see, I was still waiting to give him my number the second time.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't, and so he just went ahead and did it. So he did get asked permission, but I hadn't given the number yet. And then suddenly saw this charge and says, "What the hell? How did this happen?" And then he told me he remembered my card number. And this was from 4 months before. I thought it was pretty amazing. After that, I started remembering my own credit card number. Do you remember what your credit card number is?
Yes.
You can say it right now. What is it?
Yes, but I will not. I finally have all of my credit cards paid off, and I'm not going to charge on them or let anybody charge on them because I have zero balance on my credit cards. All of them. Goal achieved.
I just use debit cards. I don't build up any credit anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Chapter 15. Tell me what you think about this one. Stand guard at the door of your brain.
Stand guard at the door of your brain?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, reiterate. What is that?
Well, I'm asking you, what do you think that means?
Stand guard at the door of your brain. That is very interesting. I would think don't believe in fake news and don't believe everything that you hear, and to think for yourself instead of just going with the masses.
Yep. That's a quote from Jim Rohn, amazing fellow, coach, thought leader, transformational leader, one of Tony Robbins' mentors as well. Mm-hmm. So here's how I begin my chapter. Who do you listen to or get advice from? Are people supporting you or changing your ideas? Who or what influences you? Who's driving your bus? You or someone else? And so the talk that I had today was about who's driving the bus as well. What relationships are you in that are giving you information or making you feel obligated, right? Mm-hmm. To go on these red carpet events and all these things. So standing guard at the door of your brain is just making sure that you filter the information that's very accurate and that serves you at the highest level. Bless you.
Thank you.
Because the problem then again is, some of the things I ask in my book is you have to ask yourself, do the words inspire you and serve you? Do they cause you to take action? And what effect does it have on you? When words do not support you or violates what you believe in or value, notice what you do. Is your response serving you or hindering you? Who can you consistently listen to? So one of the things that I've noticed is that, we like to belong. We like to have connections with other people. And just because somebody that you respect or value or feel you need to be connected with, they may tell you things that you just automatically take in.
Is your phone going off?
Yeah, you got good ears. They're not supposed to be calling me right now.
I got them from the Mayo Clinic. Thank you, Mayo Clinic. Man-made. Woo-woo.
That was the one in Rochester, right?
No, actually, there's one here right by Fountain Hills. Actually, there's 2 Mayo Clinics here.
Oh, that's right. That's right. A buddy of mine, plastic surgeon, was head of plastic surgery there in Scottsdale. Mm-hmm. The Mayo. Yeah, he almost got me incarcerated.
Wow.
Yeah, I ran the border up in Canada to the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, I was a resident. No, I was a fellow. And what happened? I really probably shouldn't say this on live radio, right? It's gonna get me in trouble. But I didn't realize that we were going out of the country, and I didn't have my passport with me.
Oh.
They were all Americans. They didn't care. They didn't care if I got arrested or not. So, but listening to other people, how does that can affect you? And the problem is that when you trust someone and they tell you something and you listen to it and take it on without any question, then you may be doing something that's very bad for you. Not necessarily bad in a grander sense. Could be bad in a grander sense, but could also be really bad for you because it's not in alignment with what you truly believe in. Mm-hmm. See, you're in charge of your brain. You're in charge of your thoughts. You have to be responsible. And so that's what's unfortunate with all these protests right now. I think people just join in without even thinking.
So you think people protest just to say they got to protest?
I think sometimes people do that, yeah.
I think so too. I thoroughly believe. I think it's funny when you see, different people getting interviewed while they're there and they really don't know what they're protesting. It's interesting.
So this is why marketing is so big in all worldwide. And this is why these people get paid so much money, because the better you market something, the better your product is going to sell. And so a lot of marketing has to do with specific anchors, as we talked about, specific associations with life, but also emotional associations. So I've always liked Coca-Cola because it's the real thing.
You shouldn't be drinking that. It's so horrible for you.
But it's the real thing. Remember the old commercial?
It is the real thing, but it's real bad for you.
Well, we're not talking about that. Right? Okay. We're talking about marketing in the commercial. Don't spoil my show. This is my show. But Coca-Cola has always had these phenomenal ads because they really were able to fine-tune into the emotion, the cultural emotion of so many people. And that's why their sales did really well. And so I never liked Pepsi because I never could relate to their commercials.
The choice of the next generation?
Well, I can't even remember. Now,
it's the choice of the new generation. That's
it is? Okay, that's probably the problem. So I never really liked Pepsi, and then obviously because I already had this this preconceived notion that I'm not going to like it, then I'm not going to like it, right? That changed the other day because I saw a commercial that I thought, wow, this is really cool. And and interestingly enough, and again, this is not a political forum, just so that everybody knows that. Interestingly enough, people are very much up in arms about this commercial that the Pepsi brought out last week. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, is that the one with that Jenner/Kardashian people? We need to get rid of the Kardashians. Seriously, I'm so tired of seeing them.
Well, it's not about her so much, but it's about,
It's about, isn't that when she hands a Pepsi to a policeman?
Yeah.
Is that correct? And I know
exactly
look at history, the same scenes happened before, but it's with some of the protesters were African American and they were getting beaten down. And so they were saying using this person to depict that was a slap in the face to society.
Do you agree with that?
I haven't seen the commercial, so I have to see. Really, I mean,
I don't get involved. What?
I read about it and I read both sides, but I can't form an opinion because I've not seen it.
So I think that if we can just take the politics out of all this stuff, right? And you see people are protesting, and then we have our police forces there to maintain law and order, right? And how much of a what should I put it? How should I put it? More of a chaotic, volatile situation, right? In the past, if we make references to the past, it was like, okay, I'm going to hand you a flower of peace. And look in the 60s. I mean, it was all about peace and love and let's hug each other and all that kind of stuff. So this is almost a throwback, in my opinion, to that time, flower power. And so it's almost like, okay, here's my peace offering. why can't we just see it for what it is that way versus looking, kind of finding all sorts of reasons what it's not. Make sense? So
Yeah,
I'm gonna try Pepsi next week.
Okay. Let me know what
I really like that commercial.
Really? Oh my gosh. If you're going to drink soda, there's a soda called ZBIA. It's sweetened with organic stevia plant, and it's so much better for you. Even diabetics can drink it. I'm not saying that you are one, but diabetics can drink it. It's not going to mess with their glycemic index or anything like that.
So you know what's a really good product? You should check it out. It's called Sola.
Sola?
Sola. Yeah, it's better than stevia. It's phenomenal.
Really?
It's great with cooking.
Is it the gum fruit, or what is that? What is that name of that? What is it that it's not, it's better than stevia? Because I have a stevia plant at home that I use if I ever want anything sweetened. I just rip the leaf off and put it in there and it works.
Yeah, I don't like the aftertaste of stevia. But Sola, you should try it out. You can get it on Amazon. Great stuff.
And it's no chemicals. It's all natural.
Nope. All natural.
Okay, because I'm like sucralose scares me, so I won't take anything with sucralose in it. It's chlorinated sugar.
Well, we know that high refined sugars are the cause of so many problems in life, diseases and all that kind of thing. And so, I wish I had my Pepsi right now.
I have my glass of water.
Here's mine.
Oh my gosh. There you go. That's so much. You don't need it. You don't need soda. You just need water. It's so much better for you.
I didn't say I needed soda.
You said you wanted.
All right. Well, that's different. Want versus need.
That's true.
All right. How we communicate does not work.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about that one?
I agree 100%.
Why?
I think that the newer generation social skills aren't up to par because they're very much into computers and texting and less just sitting down and having a nice conversation. People don't do that anymore. People don't pick up the phone and call anymore. I don't talk on the phone because I can't hear it. But if I could, I would totally talk on the phone and have a conversation. But that's hard. But, I believe that people don't communicate very well at all. Anybody who has to say a sentence and say like at least 4 times, I cannot stand speaking to them.
Oh, like what?
So I was going to the store and no, I hate that. So if you use that word like in a sentence more than 4 times, I just want to strangle you and be like, okay, you really need to stop saying like.
Okay.
Right? It's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine.
So, all right. Like, huh? I'm going to write this down.
Don't use that word. You can say you like something and actually use the word as like.
Can you read that?
I can.
I didn't say anything. So here's an interesting perspective on communication. All right, and I'm going to bet that you're going to like it wrong. Okay. So if you and I are communicating, okay, and I'm communicating something to you, what's the split in responsibility in that communication of what I'm communicating to you? So is it 50-50? Is it 60-40? What is it?
I would think more of 75-25 or 80-20 because the way you communicate or present that makes a huge difference as if I'm going to actually listen to what you have to say. So you have the majority of the responsibility because you're the one that's doing the communicating. It takes more thought process and more effort to communicate than it does to just simply listen, in my humble opinion.
Dus als ik in Nederlands spreek, dan heb je geen flauw idee wat ik zeg.
Are you speaking Dutch?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, that didn't help me because I don't speak Dutch.
Right. So actually, you're better. Your answer was better than I expected. Not because of you, right? I mean,
I like to surprise you.
What?
I like to surprise you.
Yeah, you like when I think of other people, who don't speak. No, just kidding. You're not picking up my likes.
I'm ignoring them on purpose.
Okay. So actually, you're spot on, because I'm actually responsible 100% for what I'm communicating to you. So what you communicate back to me is the feedback I get from you is a communication I give to you. So say, for example, I say something and you're surprised, and that's not the feedback I'm wanting to get. If the feedback is happiness and I get surprise or anger, then I realize that I've not communicated to you what it was that I wanted to communicate to you. So I'm 100%. It's not up to you. I mean, you could totally ignore me if you want to. That's your choice, right? Or you could not speak the language, so it's still not your fault, right? And so I think this is where people get it wrong, where they're just expecting other people to understand you. And when they have no freaking idea what you're talking about, it's not really their fault, unless they don't care. But then again, it's up to you what you're communicating. If you're communicating a way that doesn't, relate to them or don't care about, that's on you, not on them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so what happens so often is that, and you probably notice this is a lot, is that when you're communicating to people, is that they're all very eager to, say what they want to say right away without really letting you finish your sentence. Would you agree?
I agree.
Right. So what's happening when they're doing that?
Well, the other person is speaking and they want to jump in and say everything really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They're not listening to you because they're running through their head what they want to say. They're not being present.
Exactly. They're not being present. And the problem that so often happens with people is that they get really uncomfortable with pauses. Right?
Well, I agree.
I have that. I'm challenged by that sometimes when I'm coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I get very dynamic and active, and my brain is going like crazy to figure things out. And then I talk a lot faster. And then I hate the pauses because I just want to fill something in.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what happens too often is people are uncomfortable with pauses. And then they start making up all sorts of things, what's going on here, because our brain has to, ask questions all the time. What does this mean? What does this mean? We're meaning addicts. So here's the benefits of effective listening: accurate information and greater clarity, increased likability and respect, better relationships, better experiences, better results, and less mistakes. So when you listen, it really begins with your intention. Have the intention to be present with the other person in front of you and be curious without judgment. One of the things that people like to do is they like to judge right away. And then as soon as you judge, then you lose the opportunity to see what their gift is. You lose the opportunity to see what's really going on. But again, it's unfortunate how quickly people will be judging. Be open. And here's the other thing. I know this is not a problem for you, right?
Okay.
So many people learn to talk, not to look rule. So they talk to you, but they don't look at you.
Oh, I mean, look you in the eyes?
Look at you in the eyes.
You know what? I have that problem all the time with people not looking me in the eyes.
Mm-hmm. That's your fault, though.
Oh, no, it's not my...
But it's true. Because now it's sort of like when you look at somebody in the eye, then it's almost like, oh, I just used that word by accident.
You only used it once in the sentence. You didn't use it 4 times. You're good.
All right. So what happens, I think, very often is that when people use the expression, the eyes are the seat of your soul or something like that, right?
Eyes are the window to the soul.
window to the soul. And so I think what happens then is that people are scared to, as they look at someone, that someone will be able to understand what their real emotions are. Mm-hmm. Because in communication, we talked about this before. I'm not going to test you on this one. If you remember what if you remember what you listened to before, if maybe you weren't listening to me before and couldn't remember what I said. But what I said was 7% of how we communicate is language. Then 55% is body language, and then I think it's 37% is intonation. So mm-hmm. Body language is also our facial expressions. And so I think the other day I asked you what was wrong with you, right? Or was mm-hmm. early on the show. And because you had a certain expression. And so I think what happens at times is that when people are communicating with others, they're scared to look at someone in the face because they're worried that their true emotions or thoughts will be revealed.
Also, another thing, I'm going to use myself as an example because I don't really know that many other people in my situation. Because of how I was when I was younger with the hearing impairment, without choice, I guess you could say, my facial expression is extremely readable because I grew up not able to really express what I was feeling through words, and I was very descriptive with my face. So now as an adult, when I'm mad, everybody knows, or if I'm frustrated, everybody knows. And it's just because I use the body language and the face and everything.
I'm checking out your face. No, actually, what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to look at my book and not listen to you and then, be guilty at not listening properly.
Thank you.
Do you journal?
I used to. I don't as much. Do you?
So here's what's important about journaling. And I think it's a really good habit. I think some of the most successful people in the world probably are avid journalers. When you think about it, we have 70,000 thoughts at least per day, 50 to maybe 90,000 thoughts every single day. And so many of these thoughts, they could be strokes of genius perhaps for you in your life. And so what if you were able to capture just 20, 30, 40 years of all those brilliant ideas? Where would you be today? Because so much goes in their minds, so many ideas, so many perspectives, so many dreams, and we just don't capture those. So if it wasn't just for that, then could it also be for this? Is that in our complex world, with so many things going on, so many obligations of red carpet events and heels and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. You're not responding.
No, I'm listening.
Okay, you're listening. But you can listen with expression too,
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what happens then is that it can kind of be difficult to navigate through all these different conflicts, through all these different emotions, through all these different fears, through all these different challenges. And that creates stress. And that also then creates lack of health or sickness or disease. And so in that stress, if we don't properly process all that information, then it's a problem. And so one of the best ways, and science has proven this, is that, you can journal, write things that are happening, write down the great things that are happening, write down your celebrations. Most people forget the magic moments in their life. They forget the things that they celebrated once before. If you could just come up with a list of all the amazing things that ever happened in your life, had them all in a book, and one day that you're really sad, you could get this book out and read all these amazing things, would change your mood in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
So by writing things down, you're much more able to process this information.
Mm-hmm.
All major decisions in life, actually have to be written down because there's no way that your brain can handle all that. Yeah, I don't know who that was. Their head was chopped off.
Okay, it might have been Dave Pratt.
Oh, okay. So here's what happens. Journaling helps with stress management by more effectively processing and releasing deep emotions, conflicts, challenges, and finding solutions. Journaling positively impacts blood pressure, lung function, immune system, and other bodily systems. Journaling helps you to explore and clarify your thoughts more deeply and holds the opportunity to be even more creative in the process. Journaling enhances self-esteem by reducing stress, processing challenges, and capturing the great moments in celebration. So this is why this book is really cool, because it gives you very simple to read distinctions of why it is that these things are helpful. From journaling, from focusing, from compliments, from how we communicate, routine your decisions, letting your inner child out, the system that's most flexible wins, all these different things. So if you're really looking to change your life, it's really helpful to get a book like this, because personal development, that's a journey. That's a lot of work. And not everyone is up to the task, partly because they don't understand the value of it, but that's okay. But what if you could change one thing in your life? What if you just learned how to listen better than you used to? What if you could process your challenges better by just starting to journal? Even if it's a legacy that you get to share with others, and a legacy that you could share with others. I mean, I can't tell you how much stuff I've written, and I'm sometimes wondering, what's going to happen when my kids read all this stuff? They might be shocked.
No, I think they'll admire you. They'll admire you.
Well, some things are really personal.
Ooh, so don't let them read those.
No, I have to read them. So, what are your top 3 values?
My top 3 values?
Yeah, what are the top 3 things that you value?
Integrity.
Okay, so integrity.
Honesty.
I'll write this down. Honesty. Okay. What else?
Oh gosh. The third one's pretty hard because all these different values are popping up in my head.
All right, well, give them to me.
Just to honor other people, to be respectful, to pay it forward, to love other people, to appreciate differences, to not judge, to accept. I'm sorry, there's so many values that keep popping up in my head. I can't just pick 3. There's so many. Okay. So sorry for rambling, but
no, it's good. So is integrity your number 1, you think?
Yes. Honor your word.
All right. And so honesty and honor. So, and love others is somewhere in there, right?
Yeah.
So what's interesting is that a lot of what we do is driven by what we value. Okay. So we value integrity. So our intention in any given moment is to be integral with the remaining 4 minutes that we have left. So it's important then in our own personal awareness is what's more important. And so in my conversation today with these incredible businessmen, I gave them a list of values. I said, okay, on one hand, you could have values of love, connection, health, and fun. And then you could have another set of values, which is ambition, success, wealth, and marketing, say. Okay, no, marketing's not a good one. So depending on the order of your values, your priority of values, it's also going to change your life.
Mm-hmm.
So taking a moment, anybody listening today, is do this little exercise at home. What are your top 7 values? What would happen if you change the order of values? So in my particular case, it's health, it's love, it's connection, it's also integrity, honesty, and then somewhere comes fun and adventure, right? Worldly experiences. What if I put that worldly experiences on top, right? And then connection, and then love, and then health. So health is now number 4. Do you think I'd be doing different things
Yes.
in life?
Completely different.
Yeah, I'd probably be jumping out of an airplane.
Jumping out of an airplane, going, trying whatever cuisine you want and not have to worry about working out because your values is to be more worldly and to see what's going on, right. Having fun and I don't know. Health is such a big one for me too. Darn it. There's so many.
Yeah, but you didn't share it with me in this one.
I didn't. Well, I work out a lot. I don't know if you probably can't tell, but I actually do. Because health is very important. Strength.
So that's for anybody listening is, what's your value chain and hierarchy? Putting your values in a different order so that that's going to change your life.
Mm-hmm.
And so we babbled on a little bit today. We were all over the map. One of the interesting things is that my purpose is really to get other voices on this platform. But today, because it was an important day and I was taking care of some amazing people, that I didn't want to take a chance that I couldn't make it to my interview today. So I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, Prescription for Your Transformation, real people, real conversations, real success, talking to Wendy West, my producer. Always delighted to see you and always love the banter and the feedback and the challenges that I get, from you. And again, this is really about sharing the wisdoms of other people so that you can change your life. I'll be back, I think, next week.
I hope so.
I will.